This is the Water Quality Association podcast.
This is a snapshot during a very tumultuous time in our economy, and we still showed a slightly positive results. So I'm optimistic about where we go, and especially the one we take later this year, where I think a lot of these things won't be settled, but they will be settled down somewhat.
That's A.O. Smith's Sam Karki talking about the new WQA Manufacturer Confidence Report. And welcome to the weekly podcast from the Water Quality Association, the leading voice of the residential, commercial, and industrial water treatment community. I'm Wes Bleed. Be sure to give us a thumbs up and leave a comment and subscribe to the podcast so you never miss a show. That's the magic of podcasting, by the way. And we'd love to have you catch our podcasts on YouTube. In this episode, we're joined by two industry veterans to discuss the WQA Manufacturer Confidence Report, which tracks executive sentiment and market strategy across the water treatment industry. Our guests are Sean Corrin with Chester Paul Company and Sam Kargi, Senior Vice President at A.O. Smith. We'll explore what the latest score tells us, why manufacturers remain upbeat about volume and growth, and how capital expenditure trends are shaping the future of efficiency. We'll also discuss the dealer market as well as direct-to-consumer sales and the greatest challenge facing the industry. Do you know what it is? Are you prepared? Plus, we'll have our WQA tip. It's all coming up on the Water Quality Association podcast. We're exploring the Water Quality Association's Manufacturer Confidence Report in this podcast. It's a benchmark study that takes the pulse of leaders across the water treatment industry. With us are two gentlemen who know a lot about the industry and what this all means. We have Sean Corrin with Chester Paul Company and Sam Kargi, Senior Vice President at A.O. Smith and President of their North America Water Treatment Section. So together, we're going to unpack what the survey is all about and take a look at how it will affect the industry and our members and those outside the membership, but perhaps looking in and thinking about joining WQA. So a lot to unpack here in this podcast. So Sean, first of all, welcome. Appreciate your joining us. Start off by telling us what this report is. What is it and what's it all about?
Yeah, so this survey is the first structured, repeatable pulse check of the manufacturers in our industry. We launched this in 2025 with the intention of fielding this twice a year so we can consistently benchmark executive sentiment and see how confidence trends evolve over time.
And so confidence as in how confident are you in the economy, in the industry, in what's happening in your company? What's the confidence?
Yeah, so it captures the voices of CEOs, presidents, owners of manufacturers in the WQA, and what their business sentiment is. If that is on revenue, if that is on labor, if that is on CapEx spending, it's really kind of your overall confidence in your business at any given time.
Okay, and I understand that the confidence score has been tabulated from this survey, and we have a score of 54.5 out of 100. So tell us about that score. What does that reflect?
So the survey structure, you'll all get a copy of the actual survey, and it gets into the weeds of how we calculate the score. So I won't get too far into that, but we do have a short handful of questions that are control questions that we'll ask. We'll continually ask those same questions so that score is repeatable and the matrix aren't changing. But a 54.5 score in my mind doesn't mean we're bullish. It means that I think leaders are being realistic with the threat of optimism. It's showing that we're being disciplined, but I don't think in any means it's a like I said, a bullish score. But at the same time, we're not being, nobody's being reckless.
Right. Yeah, and I'll jump in. I really think with the state of what the general economy looked like in spring when we did this survey, with the uncertainty around tariffs, the uncertainty around supply chains, the uncertainty around the economy. We all thought in May that the economy was on the verge of a major recession and things like that. So the fact that we're still slightly positive, I think, is optimistic. And as we know, the most manufacturers have had a good 2025 so far, and I think that has tempered some of these uncertainties that we've seen out there overall.
Yeah, and when you think about the way the economy has gone and the uncertainty factor, I can remember talking to somebody in the industry back in the spring, early 2022, and there was almost an assumption then that we were going to be in a recession. So
Yeah,
the fact that we've gone this far without that happening has been really amazing.
it's resilience of just the American economy overall. And I think
For
that's
sure.
why this survey remains slightly positive. You know,
So what? Okay, all right, that sounds good. But what do you take from it? What does that mean going forward? I guess, Sam, let me give that to you.
I sense a look at cautious optimism. I think most of your manufacturers have seen good volume in late 24 into 2025. There was definitely a pickup. Everybody I've talked to has been very, very confident about what their business has been able to produce. But with the uncertainties of tariffs, what it's going to do to our supply chain, what the look at the economy was going to be, overall, that's what's been tempering out there. And I think what surprises me the most is that it still has remained as positive as it is. This could have gone really south, and this could have been a 25% confidence score, well below neutral. And I wouldn't have thought twice about that based on it, especially in the time frame when this was done in the spring. I think one of the great things about the survey, as Sean said, doing it twice a year. It's not about the individual survey; it's how does it evolve over time, and what trends do you see as we do multiples of these every 6 months or so? And that's I think the real takeaway from this survey overall. This is just
So
the first one is going.
we'll be looking at these reports, roughly speaking, at the mid-year leadership conference. We'll talk
Hmm.
more about that, and then another report would be somewhere around convention time in the spring. Would that be
Yep,
correct?
Yeah, great.
exactly. And it's great
Okay.
timing
So
because we all get together and we have our meetings, we have our manufacturer section. It's a great time to really talk through some of these issues and what are the things that are scaring people. Like labor and channel and stuff like that we've seen pop out on this one here.
Sean, I want to take a look at something that was in the report about demand. And it said, as I recall here, on just slightly under half of the manufacturers report an increase in demand. And how do you take that? Do you take that as positive or maybe not so much?
so I take it as very positive. When you have a POE segment and you're still seeing half of the survey takers report, organic growth, that's a solid positive in my book. Um, it's to me it's trending to where the water treatment isn't really as discretionary as it once was, or at least especially when probably Sam and I both started in this business. I see that trend continuing as long as that stays. If you see 50% trending on growth, that's a great indicator. That
Hmm.
was one of the numbers that was exciting to me.
Sam, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think again, we've had a roller coaster over the last 5 years. The pandemic, we saw astronomical heights for our industry, and then we saw a crash for a couple of years. I think we're at the point in terms of demand where that COVID pandemic, post pandemic bubble has worked its way through the system. And we're getting back to more of a natural and a general demand curve that we haven't seen probably for 5 years. So I think the excitement that a lot of these survey takers have is it's feeling a little bit more like something that I have control of as a manufacturer, our industry has control of, rather than outside dynamic forces that are presenting headwinds or tailwinds that maybe we didn't have in the past. And it's why I feel good overall. I think it's just a positive development after 5 really tumultuous years.
And then as well, CapEx spending. It seems to be either increasing or holding steady to the tune of 87% of companies on the positive side. Sean, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that CapEx number is fantastic. The
Hmm.
CapEx spend message is crystal clear in my mind. Even in this watchful environment, we know we can't stand still. I mean, I think that's That's an excellent number there. And I see it. I mean, I see it throughout the industry. If it's with M&A or with just new production facilities or people, designing and manufacturing more products, it's pretty obvious that CapEx is strong.
Yeah, that's a great point, and I wanted to get Sam's thoughts on this too. Sam, how do you see that playing out? Is it in innovation? Is it looking for new product lines? Is it looking for, as you know, as Sean reflected, perhaps expansion?
Yeah, I mean, you've seen a lot of company acquisitions over the last handful of years, and I think that will continue to accelerate by many people out there. That's probably the most obvious version of capital deployment. The other area I'm seeing a lot, not only from within our company, but as well as just others out there in our supply chain, things like that. The idea that labor is getting more and more and more challenging, and the ability to create products, innovative products that rely on less labor so that our dealers and our folks out there can do more installations more quickly. Innovation isn't necessarily about radical new technology, but it's about products that our channel can use and that they can do more so we can mutually grow together. And I think that's where you're seeing a lot of that innovation and a lot of that CapEx being deployed out there right now.
Yeah, that efficiency that you're talking about there is what offsets a lot of uh, inflation as well
Yeah.
in our industry, right? Like if you can develop new products that increase efficiency, it's worth the cap spend.
Yeah.
And along that line, Sam, the traditional dealer versus direct to consumer, how is that changing? What's the sentiment around that?
It's an interesting one. When I started in this industry 28, 29, 30 years ago, I got to do the math right now, but I remember one of my original mentors telling me that, hey, the dealer market, it's going away because DIY, big box retail is gonna destroy it, and the dealers are gonna go away and all that. Here we are, nearly 30 years later, and the dealers are as strong or stronger than they ever have been. I sense a lot of the same for the direct to consumer, that this is a new area that goes after a segment of the business, but not necessarily a segment that competes directly with the dealers. I think our industry can and should afford both within it. Direct to consumer, I kind of consider that gateway product line, those first time buyers who want to have a simple online experience. They will buy that online. They've become enamored with point of entry, point of use water treatment devices in their home. They graduate on to the next layer of their life stage, the next layer of their career, and then they invite a dealer into their home or a water treatment professional to come out and give them a great solution. So I think both segments are very important, and I think they will become the two leading segments of our business over the next handful of years, with some of the other segments kind of giving way to direct to consumer and whatnot.
That's a great description because rather than fear or take aim against one
Mm-hmm.
particular distribution method, if you can see them all as kind of helping to provide consumers where they are, right?
Yep.
I mean, you might walk into a house and somebody's got a pitcher in their fridge.
Yep.
Somebody else maybe goes from the pitcher to under the sink, and then somebody else from under the sink to the whole house. So it's a pathway, right? It's a course.
Yeah.
What you're talking about, Wes, is just awareness, right? They're aware they've taken some sort of action, and then I don't know about you two, but I get asked all the time, and these are people that have water treatment systems and they want to know more. So what Sam's point is that the pro channel and the professional dealer, the information that they can share firsthand with experience versus just a consumer reading, or reading marketing and being marketed to, has extreme value. So you really it's increasing awareness. I think there will be some pivots in the way probably the dealer market, gets in front of the homeowner and gets to the kitchen table, as we say. But they have a strong place in the business for sure, as well does D2C.
Yeah.
It's only going to continue to grow.
You mentioned before the supply chain and things like that. Are there any points in the survey that are cautionary? People wondering still about one aspect of the economy or another?
Labor.
Labor. Yeah, I agree.
2/3 finding it labor being an issue. And when it's 2/3, that's probably it's probably more than a staffing issue, right? Don't you think, Sam?
Yeah. No, labor has been a headwind since the pandemic. And it's not just within the four walls of a manufacturer, it's the downstream channel. Every dealer I talk to would love to grow more. Every reseller, every water treatment professional, wholesaler I talk to would love to grow more. But labor is a limiting factor for them right now. And finding good trained labor, especially in the trades, that skilled labor, that trade labor is very, very challenging right now. And companies that can crack that code will be your next most successful companies looking forward.
Absolutely.
Well, in this time period of AI taking all of our jobs, it's certainly good to hear that you actually need people. You need human bodies in the position to get the job done.
Yep.
Yeah.
AI can write a great resume for you, but it can't turn a wrench under your sink. So
yeah.
You're absolutely right, Sam. Every person who I talk to that actually is in the field is hiring for installation.
Yep.
It's hiring for installation and willing to coach and train and so it's an entry into a career, really. It's but labor, like you said, is limiting the ability to scale. So it's serious.
All right, more on this report, as we mentioned, coming up at the Mid-Year Leadership Conference as we record this in early September. So, Sean, tell us about how somebody coming to the conference will hear more about this.
So, yeah, at mid-year, I will be presenting, and we'll probably have the actual the PDF version available for you to take home. That'll be at the manufacturer supplier section meeting on Tuesday at 10:30 in the morning. I'll also be at the research committee section presenting that as well there, because that's where this survey will live, with the research committee.
Awesome. And this is a good opportunity to not only hear the report, but engage in some level of discussion as well, right? And learn from what others are saying about the report and their own experiences.
Yeah, actually, we're going to have a great panel at the manufacturers section talking about this survey and the consumer insights report. So it should be fun. We're going to miss Sam at that panel, but
wish I could be there.
Yeah. But it'll be fun. We'll spend an hour going through this.
Well, any final thoughts, gentlemen, before we close the podcast?
I'll maybe jump in. I think the biggest thing for me, as I said earlier, is watch how this report evolves over time. You brought up AI, Wes. I think that will probably be a question we'll want to learn more about, how people are using that in their businesses and whatnot. But the power of a regular survey is the trends that it shows over time and the sentiments. This is a snapshot during a very tumultuous time in our economy, and we still showed a slightly positive results. So I'm optimistic about where we go, and especially the one we take later this year, where I think a lot of these things won't be settled, but they will be settled down somewhat compared to what they were in spring when this survey was done. So I'm looking forward to that.
All right. Our thanks to Sean Corn with Chester Paul, and to Sam Cargie, former WQA president. I should have mentioned that before. Yeah. And senior VP of A.O. Smith and president North America Water Treatment. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Our WQA tip: plan now for the WQA Mid-Year Leadership Conference, September 16th through the 18th, 2025, in Rosemont, Illinois, just outside Chicago. Connect with others in the water treatment industry to advance the betterment of water quality. Share best practices with colleagues. Discover the latest trends. and share your insights so others can benefit. Plus, participate in fundraising events for the Water Quality Research Foundation. Head on over to wqa.org/MYLC to learn more and register. Thanks for joining us for the Water Quality Association podcast, bringing you the latest news and insights from the association, our members, and outside experts to help you better serve your customer and grow your business. Learn more about water and water filtration at our consumer website, betterwatertoday.org, and learn more about professional certification, product certification, and how you can become a WQA member at WQA.org. Until next time, this is Wes Bleed. So long from the Water Quality Association.